Now we are live. Right now, we are doing. Well, first of all, what's going on, you guys? This is your host, David Ramos on Davravid Talks Way Too Much. And I'm coming with your special guest right now. We are FaceTiming from you guys. Me and Elmer, Mr. Glue. Say what's up, Mr. Glue.
What it is, what it do.
What it is, what it do. A little background about me and Mr. Glue. Ooh,
bars.
We share straight bars, chocolate bars.
That's what it is.
We share the we share the room back in college, back in the old college days, pre-quarantine. What a time ago it was. Such a time. Seems like berry time nowadays. So I have him on the show. We went to SU. An amazing school, SUFTL in South Florida, now called SUCOC. Cool plug over there. Lived together in a room, and it was cool. It was dope. Created. He's a videographer. Check out his YouTube.
That's a strong word.
He's a rapper. Strong word. Is rapper too strong or SoundCloud rapper?
No, I'm barely on SoundCloud. I'm on the what's it called? The streaming sites. I'm on the streaming sites.
He's a streaming rapper.
Yeah.
Streaming everywhere for you guys. So, yeah, so that's what my boy is doing. So, check him out. I'm going to post the socials. I'm going to post sites below. Check the show notes for that. But we're going to jump straight into the show, basically. So, the first question I got from my boy Elmer is kind of straightforward. Let's kind of go a little shallow maybe. Maybe you guys haven't picked it out. Why are you called Mr. Glue?
Mr. Glue. Okay. My name is Elmer, like the glue. And that's how I introduce myself to people. So my PlayStation name is actually Mr._Glue_18. Come catch these hands on Call of Duty. But that's where it came from. When I finally was making an Instagram, I was like, you know what? I'll just stick with the Mr. Glue. And that's what it's been ever since. When I started vlogging, too. That's when I was like,
dang.
Okay.
So let's talk about that, vlogging for a little bit. Everyone who knows you, Elmer, knows that you have an incredible sense of humor, but also a very unique sense of humor. Do you think that vlogging kind of created that sense of humor and molded it out to be its own, or does something else kind of create that sense of humor?
I think it's more of like let's say a tool for the humor. Like, I was able to develop a different, I don't know how to explain it. It's my humor, but there's a different humor in the vlog because the humor is more in the edit, typically. So it's
sort of.
Go ahead.
It's sort of like your humor, but in editing, visualized.
Yeah, exactly. It's visual humor. It's all in the timing. Humor is all about timing, delivery, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I'm naturally funny. So when I see moments, I mean, not to flex, but it's just, I'm more of a natural. I don't think of stuff. I just on the fly. It's like wit. I'm witty, I would say. So when I'm vlogging, it's what I can catch in the moments. And a lot of it was filming other people like you and Armani and people being just dumb around the house and editing around that. It made it very easy.
Oh my gosh. I look back on those days, I'm like, oh
those
my
are funny.
gosh.
It's even funnier because I was never on camera.
Never on camera. It was like, after you stopped the filming, like all of us changed. And when we were in the house for too long, and we knew we were.
Oh yeah, it was a certain hour. It was like after 10, all of us was just ignorant.
So ignorant. So it's crazy for me to see all these people in this new generation right now being crackhead status. and like I'm over here like we didn't even call it that. We were just being ignorant. we were that before it was trendy. All right, so back on actual valuable content. This is valuable. It helps people deal with their, mental problems, by thinking about something else.
Exactly.
What
They're a
are
distraction.
Exactly. Distractions. So I always ask this to people I'm interviewing. What's your 3 most passionate things that you're about? Like, what's your 3 whys, or what's your 3 things that, like, if you don't have 3, that's all right. But what's 3 things that you are willing to be like a frontline soldier for?
In terms of
Life, like issues, like.
Oh man.
It can be ministry related. It can be social issues. It could be economic issues. It can be health issues. It can be current events. Anything.
Got you. So I have to think about this one. That's a good question.
Or maybe just one. You can just go with the first one that pops in your head, and off talking about that, you'll probably be able to think about it too.
So, a big thing, especially, I don't know if you remember when I was back in the house, there's this, I don't know if it's like a movement. It was the I don't mind. I had the hat and the shirt and all that. And what that represented was, it was a mental health awareness non-profit. Is basically trying to like end the stigma of people not speaking up about whatever issues that they got going on, and making it a more comfortable place for people to share their stories and all that kind of stuff. So that's always been something I've been big on.
Where's your heart with that? Like, what pulls you into that?
I guess seeing it, how it affects people firsthand, own experience of like, I don't want to talk to anybody, but once you start, it just happens naturally. So it goes back into the house. We would always have like those deep talks as a house. And that's where all that would come out, in comfortability, and just saying like, hey, I got garbage too in my closet, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest worry for people coming out and saying like, hey, I got garbage? I think that we live in a generation to where it's now easier for people to come out of the closet than bring their skeletons out of the closet too.
I think it's a big thing on fear of being judged. I mean, if you look at social media, no one's really posting the deepest, darkest things of of whatever's going on. So, but the people that are the ones that, they could get sometimes called attention craving and all that kind of stuff. So it puts them off on it. But I mean, nowadays times are changing. So, like you said, people coming out of the closet and all that kind of stuff, it's more celebrated now than it was before. And that's where movements like that I don't mind, would push towards that kind of, celebrating, being able to speak about things so that you can claim that victory over that.
For sure. Okay. I feel you with that. And definitely, how does it feel to be... do you think rap sometimes is an outlet for you?
100%.
100%? You want to go into that a little bit deeper?
Yes, sir. So, at first, with me and rapping, it was a lot more just like something to do, something fun. But as of the past few years, well, it just went dark. The past few years, Especially, I'm gonna give you a little exclusive. Pew, 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 pew. Well, I'm working on a little, like an actual project. That it's way more of like a venting session than it is of like a bar session. There are bars, don't get me wrong, but I'm finding the balance of it all.
It just it's more content than lyrical. Does that make sense? Like more story.
Yeah. So I'll give you I'm calling it emergency chocolate.
I like it.
Yeah, it's on brand, right? But
I see it right there.
The whole concept is basically, like the in case of emergency, like you hit the glass and you get whatever. And emergency chocolate's a thing too for that. It's ringing the alarm of like, it's me putting that foot forward of like, all right, I'm gonna speak openly about things, and as well as just flex lyrical capabilities while doing it.
There you go. Always.
Yeah, so it's definitely over the past like year, I've definitely been more introspective in my raps that I put out, rather than it just being like random rap stuff. Taking it a little more seriously.
Okay. I don't want to put your whole social media page on blast, but you post about your new girlfriend all the time. So,
yeah,
it's okay. I do all the time too. We all do, A little lesson for y'all fellas out there. Anyways, so with that being said, how is it being in a relationship with somebody and you having to deal with everything that you've been through and currently still dealing with what you're going through? How does it feel on your end? And what would you say is some good advice for other people who, maybe like you, but they feel like, I don't know. You can speak also a little bit about your insecurities just entering into a relationship. And where has that brought you? How have you dealt with that?
Bet. So, a big thing. Where do I start? I guess in the beginning. It's advice-wise. It's best to go into something as friends, right? Like be friends with a person before any of that kind of stuff come up. For me, we've been friends since my sophomore year of high school. Like we've known her since high school, was in classes together, went to the same church. So we've always been friends, and just more recently, obviously, was hanging out more, and then everything just developed naturally. So that was what made that so easy. We were friends, and it just happened. So
just happened.
Yeah, where all the pieces fit into the right spots for it. It just all made sense. So before, a big thing was like, it's been forever since I've been in an actual, hey, this is my girlfriend kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And that was big of like not really being able to fully commit to whatever, for whatever reason, of just every excuse you could think of was what I was telling myself to not. You know what I mean? Or, on the other side, other people felt differently over time, blah, blah, blah. So it eventually, when it was less, I'm looking, and it was just like, here's my friend, we hang out, and then over the course of a few months, it's like, okay, this fits like a glove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did any of that make sense? Am I just rambling about? I'm being super vague.
No, it did. Like, I know you're good. Like, I completely understand. Like, it's always good to be friends. When you said you've known her since sophomore year, I think that's beautiful. I think of some of the friends I've known since sophomore year, which is when I switched schools. So we're still very close. They got to know me when I was switching schools. I don't know if people know, but whenever I enter a new place, a completely new area, and I know zero people, because usually I don't know if people know, but I get to know people through people. You know what I'm saying? If I never know you, if I never knew you, if I never know any of your friends, I'm likely not even gonna ever approach you. So for me, when those friends I met sophomore year, they know me as I was quiet for the first 2 months. And then as time progressed, like, I met one friend who introduced me to her friends, and then next thing you know, 3 years later, I know the whole school. So, or at least my seniors and juniors. Shout out to class of 2016 and 2017 and 2015.
2015.
Elmer, what's your class?
You got it in there.
I got it. So, I think of the people I know in my sophomore. I think it's so crucial for you guys to be friends first. And get to know each other in that type of level, because it helps with expectations, right?
Yeah, because it's not... Because at the end of the day, that's like my friend. That's my best friend. You know what I mean? And that's like what ideally it should come out to. So like, there's no like I need to impress this person. There's like I am who I am, and they are who they are, and we both accept each other. Yeah,
and y'all out
because that's. I mean, ideally, right? And then. What's it called? That acceptance is like a big thing, so that you could just be who you are, and then you get pushed to be more, but not out of like a peacock showing out its feathers. You know what I mean? It's more of like a natural, like I need to be better in this area, and you adjust as you figure it all out as you go on. Communication is key. Support is key.
Communication is crazy key. Crazy is a big key. Oh, I love it. How are you guys in your relationship? Like, are y'all opposites? Are y'all the same?
It's so funny. Have you seen Hot Ones? The wing eating show on YouTube where they eat wings and it gets hotter and there's better questions as it goes along. There's the one with Paul Rudd, the actor Ant-Man, it was a big meme when his episode came out, where at the end he says, "Hey, look at us. Who would have thought? Not me." And that's how we define our relationship, because it was like we've been friends for the longest time, and it was maybe moments of like, maybe this could be a thing, but never really, thought deeper on or acted on or anything like that until obviously recently. So it was just funny to be like, that's what it was of, like I would have never thought of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a funny progression of how it went.
Yeah.
What was your question?
No, you kind of answered it in a sense of who is who, in the relationship.
Yeah, and that's it's funny because it's we have different overall styles of like music taste. I'm way more into hip hop, obviously, but she's like into the pop stuff and the whatever. She'll, we both listen to each other's type of music, but that's not like our main music. Just to name an example.
She listen to Doja Cat?
When you're feeling ratchet, of course. but
Lord.
Yeah, it was another big thing. We're both Christian. Like I said, we went to the same church, which is how I initially really knew her, was through the church that we were going through, the youth group. So that was a big thing of like, I don't really have to worry about that, or not necessarily worry, but like, it's just one of the many things that it was like, okay, this piece fits. We're both in the same belief system, that kind of stuff, and we always have.
That's good though. Like
naturally open conversations about whatever topic, and we never like argue. Like if we disagree, that's one thing, but like we always talk through things.
That's good. That's good that you guys talk, and I'm assuming you guys trust each other and are very vulnerable with each other because you guys have seen each other at your highest and your lowest before you started dating.
That's facts.
Right?
That's facts.
I think that's a huge key. That's a huge key because you're learning to accept somebody before. When you're dating, I think, and you have to go through all that, I think it requires even more. I don't know. You can say it either both ways, but I think it requires such a bigger leap of faith because you're like, you get to know this person for where that you see them and the hats they put on and everything. But when you're friends with them and there's no type of interest, y'all just chilling. You know what I'm saying? You don't mind them seeing you at your ratchet, your highest, your lowest. You know what I'm saying? Then again, it's high school and you never really know, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we definitely, we've always like clicked. And then once we like figure it out recently, it was like, oh, okay. I'm on FaceTime. Hello.
All right.
What's up? What did you say? I'm on FaceTime.
So.
My mom walked in.
Yeah. You're good. You're good. I'm waiting for mine to walk in too. So, leading me to another question. I think two more questions. Okay, so two more things I want to talk about. The first one is, tell us a little bit about your music. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell the people about your music, how you got started, what it's like for you. Because I know it takes up a lot of who Mr. Glue is.
It does, doesn't it?
So tell us a little bit about your music.
This started when I was like 9 or 10 or 11 or something like that. Or like, I didn't really know a lot about rap back then. I had like, my parents were low-key strict, especially back then, going to like a Spanish Pentecostal church. So rap wasn't like a big thing. Until a friend of mine from church gave me a few CDs and was like, listen to these. And it was Lecrae, Triply, I think KRS-One at some point. A few random things. But he started rapping. And then he gave me a beat CD with one beat on it. This is how, like, I'm about to show the 90s kid in me. The early 2000s of, like, I had this beat CD. It was one beat, and it had a violin thing on it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I went to my house. I put it in my TV, because I had a DVD player. Played it. I wrote a little something to it. It was super whack. And super Christian. Which is nothing wrong with that, but it was just adorable. And, yeah, I grabbed my dad's flip phone. And from the TV, press play, and I read the lyrics. And I sent it to my friend, and he was like, yo. I mean, it was whack, but, like, your flow is really good. You can actually rap. And then from then, it set off. And I'd just write in a notebook and all that kind of stuff until eventually, I think when I moved to Florida is when I really was like, okay, I'll rap a little more. I made a YouTube channel. I made a few YouTube channels over the course of my like middle school, high school, until until we got into the Mr. Glue era. But I would basically just do a bunch of remixes on YouTube, which are all still up, all the way from 8th grade. My very first YouTube video on my channel was for a contest.
That's how you go famous.
Yeah, my second video that I put up was Eminem and that Bruno Mars song, Lighters. Mm-hmm. And that was my first video to hit over 1,000. And I was like in 8th grade, and I was like, oh snap, maybe I can do this. But obviously, I'm still where I'm at. Hey. But that's okay too. It wasn't until like recently that I really kept it serious. But for the most part, it was just remixing songs I liked from artists or doing YouTube contests, ciphers, that kind of stuff. Until now, where I have a few songs on Spotify, Apple Music. I'm into that lo-fi vibe. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else you want to know about
it. I don't know where you want to take it, where you want to go with it, and what you like rapping about the most.
So in the project that I'm working on, I would describe it as like a bittersweet. Because, it's emergency chocolate.
I saw that.
And, what's it called? It's like for every one or two emotional or whatever, like, venting kinds, there's always, like, the sweetness of alright, now we're going to get into some bars kind of thing. So it's really, it'll sound so far all over the place, but it's intentional. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But life, and it life in terms of like emotions from all over that I'll just pull from, rather than it just being like where I'm at right now. Because, like, the first song I wrote for it, which is the intro for it, I started writing that at the end of the deployment I was on. And it's crazy. Wow. I rapped a majority of it to my girlfriend, whose name is Jessica. I never mentioned that. Her name's Jessica. I rapped it to her
Jessica
one night, and when I did the first song, I was like, man, it's been a minute since I looked at this song. And it's just crazy to see where I was then to where I am now. And even songs that I have on there, on my Spotify now, it's like, wow, from where I was when I wrote that to where I am now is completely different.
That's good. That's really good. I think I'm going to kind of use that as a transition to the last question about faith. Everybody says, especially in this time, that you got to sing a new song. What does, because I know you said you looked at where you were then and where you are now. What does it mean to you when someone says, like, hey, I want you to, like, sing a new song? You know what I'm saying? During worship or just in life, like, sometimes we just got to sing a new song.
Repeat it.
What does it mean to you for someone to tell you, or someone while worshiping, for you to sing a new song? What does it mean to you for you to sing a new song?
Man, I feel like that's such a layered question. There's so many different things you could pull. Yeah, all right. So from sing a new song, I like how that sounds. Sing a new song, where how you can take it, a way you can take it, is, we might sing the same songs or replay the same songs, like literally, but sing a new song and it's still the same song. When it hits different, you finally understand a lyric that you didn't get. It's just like when you read the Bible and you read a verse that 2 years ago meant nothing to you in your life, and then it just finally clicked. It can mean that, or like it's always a funny conversation and or like noticing in maybe smaller churches of like, oh, we sing the same worship songs over and over, but it's not about the like, it's not for you.
It's not.
It's worship. You take the music out, you take all that out, and just the words is what's important, or you know what I mean. It's the act of worship, not the song you worship to. It was like a couple days ago. So our youth group does Zoom conferences for youth, so we can like still connect. I think it was last week where her name's Becky, Pastor Becky. She said it was towards the end where she was like, sometimes we worship music.
Oh wow!
And it's a very
That's huge.
She said it, and I was like, man, that's really good. It really stuck with me. And I'm not even someone that like goes hard in worship music in terms of like I'm listening to the new whoever, whatever. I'm not up to date on that kind of stuff. I just kind of every now and then, or like if I hear a song at church, I'll be like, oh, I'll look that up or whatever. But it even hit me because sometimes the one you go back to all the time, is that really like how you feel, or like, you know what I mean? Are you really worshiping when you listen to worship, or are you just singing because it's a Christian song and it sounds nice? So it's super dope. And that goes for, I guess, rappers too. That could fit with that.
That's true.
Yes, to sing a new song. I like that. That's an interesting concept.
Do you feel like since you left SCU, you in your life, you had to sing a new song going to some new seasons?
For sure.
What do you think has been something that you had to sing a lot when you were deployed?
Oh man. Let me think. Let me see if I have it actually.
You're good. Take your time.
You don't really edit these, do you? In terms of like cutting it down?
Well, I'm just gonna edit this one and probably put like a short commercial sponsor right here
for the anchored spots.
Yes.
I already know.
It's free.
No,
I'm not gonna do it right now.
Yeah, you have the audio for it, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention it right now. I'm gonna let the audio do it because I'm not gonna get paid for mentioning it right now. Oh Lord. I love Anchor.
I think the overall thing, I had it written in a journal from before, from Encounter, all the way back then.
Oh wow.
Where I guess like the overall like concept I held on to over there was the armor of God, and when coming back, that everything would be, I'd be able to walk into life normally, and that's, as someone who deployed, the hardest thing for some people, and it was definitely a hard thing for your boy. In terms of just like readjusting, in terms of finding a new purpose, like what do I do now? Because at the same time, got back from deployment a year later, which was this past January. I got out of the military. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I made it.
Hey, you made it.
Yeah, so like, just dealing with that kind of effect You know, right now I'm in, like, as you've noticed, I've not come back to SEU. I've not. I started working maybe like 6 months after, maybe less than that, after coming back home from the deployment. So it's a lot of like, all right, what do I do? Where does God want me to go? And right now it's just putting faith in, like, you know, He knows what He's doing, and He'll know where to put me, and whatever opportunities come. I guess it's an open ear, open heart, open mind.
Big facts. I love it though, Omar. I love it. I love your honesty and transparency. I'm afraid we're gonna have to close soon. But before we go, is there anything you want to tell the audience for the show?
Yeah. Can I plug stuff real quick? So
yeah, go ahead.
I was on an all military produced album, and I'm on a gospel kind of song, where it's just a bunch of military people over the internet, veterans, still active duty, all over the world, from rapping to jazz to R&B, guitarist, trombonist, like all this crazy talented people all over the world. And I was lucky enough to be a part of that. It's called Sounds Like Freedom Volume 1 by Ninja Punch Music. I am the last track, but the whole album is great. Also, I don't know when you're going to put this up, but April 24th, I am a guest spot on a friend's album who was also had to do with this album. His name is D-Cure, an Air Force veteran. The song was initially called Faith. I think he changed it to Small Town Vibes or something like that. It's still, I'm a little in the dark in it.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, the concept of it was, you know, literally where I'm at right now. And where we're both introspective on it, and just opening a little bit of testimony. It's a really cool song that I'm excited. And that April 24th, the project is called Clean. I'll promote it. But yeah, there's that. And what else? The best way to get something done is to begin. The best way to get something done is to begin.
Ooh.
That is a poster I have right here. So if you're anything like me, that quote might hit you hard. The best way to get something done is to begin. A lot of us creatives or whatever like to just plan out everything, and it has to be perfect, and it has to sound like this. And, you know, that's why I respect your grind on the podcast. Even if it can get a little weird, or, you know, you do interesting things. You are interesting, the way you do things, but you're doing them. You know what I mean? You're figuring yourself out. You're experimenting. You're using whatever voice and platform you have. So, like, big ups to you. Because for the longest time, your boy was doing nothing. So that's cool. Yeah, that's the little parting wisdom I'll put out there. The best way to get something done is to begin. I
appreciate it, bro. It's so true. It's so true. And I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate you a lot. I hope you make some good music. You're going to change the world through your microphone. And, you know, thank you so much, Elmer, for being on my podcast.
Anytime.
For Davravid. For Davravid Talks Too Much. I'm going to put in a little plug to one of my homegirls. Shout out to her. She reviewed and described my podcast on her Snapchat story as David would never stop would never shut up in high school. The only difference now is that he started recording it. I cannot think of better words to describe this podcast.
From the few years I've known you, that is a good review. Accurate.
A great review, right? All right. All right, bro. You have been amazing. Awesome. I'm put his stuff out in the description, show notes, whatever platform you're looking at. Just look below, tap on the podcast, tap on the 3 dots. You can figure it out. You use the platform a lot longer than I have, so you need to check his stuff out. Like, no debate. Get off this show right now and listen to it. Okay? Thank you so much. This has been David Ramos. This has been Mr. Glue.
Hello. I mean, goodbye.
I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the time. I hope your families are safe during this time.
I like chocolate.
Bye-bye.
For sure. Thanks for having me, dog. Literally, let me know. Let me see how people react if you want me back. If not. Yeah. Yeah. What, Alex Warren and all them?